Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order, please. Item 2 is adjustments to the agenda.
I have a couple of adjustments I'd like to add under new business 8G to accept the resignation of Chris Carroll from the Energy Committee. I don't suppose Dwight is here. 8C, request from Dwight Engelhardt to be appointed to the Shellfish Committee. There are no vacancies on the Shellfish Committee. That was my error, so I think we just strike that item. And I do have one. We will be talking about liquor licenses and cruise ships. I have, yes? Oh! Hold on, I have to fix the in-room captioning. Thank you. Yeah, this should be quick. There.
Energy, yes.
Yes.
There we go.
What is that?
We're removing 8C.
Yes.
But he hasn't been notified officially yet.
No.
Okay.
And what was the other adjustment?
8G, Chris Carroll off of the Energy Committee. He's moving out of town or out of the city.
And with your permission, then, once we get through item 8A, perhaps, I'll discuss what we should be doing with this additional application.
Okay.
So we'll defer that until then.
Any further adjustments?
Not for me.
Hearing none, do I have a motion to that effect?
I move to accept the adjustments to the agenda.
A second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councillor Dana Cummings.
Yes.
Councillor Moran.
Yes.
Councillor Stevens.
Yes.
Councillor Seeley.
Yes.
Councillor Boone.
Yes, thank you. Item 3, I had that put on there. Nomination papers, I believe, are September 21st.
They're out on August 21st.
August, yes, excuse me.
Yeah. And due September 5th.
Yes, there's city council seats, mine's up. Port Authority, we have 3, all 1, 2, and 3-year seats are up. School board, 2 seats are up.
Correct.
Good time to get involved. So, and I think City Hall will be open on the 21st, so we can get the papers out.
Endeavor to stay open that day. Yes, we'll be open.
Okay. Item 4, public hearings. New victualers license for Rumry Eastport LLC, doing business as the Rumry, 56 Water Street. Anybody from the public like to speak for or against?
This is Anthony Alley, so owner of the Rumry building. Again, trying to open up, hopefully end of September, beginning of October, martini oyster bar. So very limited menu, only 8 items. Lively has already been down to see what we're doing. So hours of operation to start will be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4:30 to 10, and eventually it will be Thursday through Monday, same hours.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak for or against? Seeing no other, we'll close that public hearing. Item 4B, new victualers license for Christina Turner, doing business as Downey's Donuts. Anybody in the audience like to speak for or against? They are good.
I'm not even sure I need a license. I think I've asked to stay on the agenda just to kind of push it, like, so I would know by next summer what is needed, what's not needed. I've sold many donuts for probably 15 or 20 years, and it's kind of been like shooting a moving target, like trying to figure out where I can set up, where I can't. If I can use power in a certain place, if I can't use power, I had a plug-in down by the fisherman statue. That was removed because I think now there's the city has power.
With council permission, maybe, Chris, if we can talk about this in action under, because I think ultimately she was one of the first people to come in once we were doing things on our own, so we actually took her money, but before we gave her the letters correctly. And there's
We're good at that.
whole thing we need to clear up, but
Yeah,
and
I just want
she
to
has
do it right. And
Yeah.
if I see a trailer that I want to get, I don't want to go buy it and then find out I can't use it. I just thought if I had it clarified what I could do and what I couldn't do before something like that popped up.
Okay. Thank you for being proactive. Anybody else like to speak for or against? Seeing no others, we'll move on to 4C, renewal of liquor license for Sherry Lynn and Mackenzie Booker doing business as Ye Olde Hookers. Anybody in the audience like to speak for or against?
I don't know if I should say anything, but that is me. I don't know if I should tell you to correct it, but my last name is wrong, and also how the business is spelled. So
Your current clerk is incompetent because he's doing a different job.
it's okay, no problem.
If you want to actually bring it up to the meeting, we'll clear that up and we'll get it right, and it will not affect
Yeah,
your
no worries
application that I got
at all.
wrong.
But I guess that's
My apologies.
yeah, no worries at all.
Thank you for the clarification, Mackenzie. Anybody
Can I
else?
just ask a question?
Yes.
Hi, I'm John Morton. I'm a resident of Eastport. I just have a clarification question. Why is this coming up at like every council meeting that we have to renew liquor licenses at every meeting?
Because
Shouldn't it be like a yearly thing?
Each business
is.
is yearly.
Oh, because it's like, this is like the third or fourth vote I think I've heard on liquor licenses.
each individual business has to have their own liquor license, and each individual business has, every year has to renew it. There is some talk, John, and I don't mind sharing it with you, that if a business is doing fine and there's no interruptions and no problems there after like a 5-year, why can't they just renew it and not have to go through a public hearing? But that isn't in stone yet, so this is the way it's always been as long as I've been here. I mean, so this is why we do it.
Because they don't all apply at the same time, they come up at different times.
Yeah. So this is,
All right, I was
yeah.
just curious.
Thank you. Any other comments on 4C, renewal of liquor license for Sherry Lynn and Mackenzie? I'm not going to say it because it's not right. Seeing none, we'll go on to 4D, new liquor license for BMSO Limited Cruise Ship.
I also misspelled that one. It's BSMD. Wait, that can't be right.
BM what? SD?
No, it's BMSL.
L. Yeah, I had, long day. Just go
BMSL.
on, please.
That's a new liquor license. Anybody here like to speak for or against the new liquor license?
I don't know, what is the, not BMSO, but whatever the acronym you just used, what is that?
It's the company that operates, I should know, Chris, do you know which vessel? I'm sorry.
I'm not sure exactly which vessel that is, but
Is that for the
I have to double
4,500
check.
one?
I have to double check. It's one of the victuals that are aboard the cruise ships.
Right, the victualler on the ship, and that's why I get confused. I'm sorry.
Okay. I guess while I have, while it's a public hearing and I'm allowed to, talk right now, I'm just going to read really quickly a letter that I wrote to the council yesterday that is in the scope of this issue. It will not take more than about a minute. Greetings all. I'm writing today to urge you not to delegate liquor licensing duties to the Port Authority Director, Chris Gardner, the City Manager, Brian Schuth, and the Police Chief, forgive me if I pronounce his name, Mark Pachomi, none of whom are elected officials. This move will allow cruise ships to continue to sell liquor on board while they're docked in port, which to me undermines the argument that cruise ship liners bring in tourist dollars to Eastport businesses, 13, now 14 of which already currently serve liquor, according to the Bureau of Alcoholic Beverages and Lottery. This is also called BATLO, so if you hear that word again, it's the Bureau of Alcoholic Beverages. Moreover, delegating our liquor license duties to unelected and or non-municipal employees is against the law in Maine. Only elected officials can hold liquor license hearings and administer liquor licensure. Doing so violates Title 28A, Chapters 1 and 7, which reads, the municipal officers may hold a public hearing for the consideration of applications for new on-premise licenses applications for transfer of location of existing on-premise licenses, and applications for common consumption areas. Municipal officers under this title means the mayor, the alderman, the councilors of a city, the members of an elected board, or councilors of a town, the assessors, etc. There's no language in these laws that allows them to delegate the power to give liquor licensing, to hold a hearing. There's no language there that allows a council to basically delegate that power. Again, please don't put the city in the position to be sued or reprimanded by Bablo. Please don't enable the conflict of interest. To me, allowing the Port Authority Director Chris Gardner, who is not a municipal, as I understand, not a municipal employee, to have a hand in liquor licensing to cruise ships from which he stands to gain a substantial amount of money. Thanks for hearing me out.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Someone in the back.
Did all that research, but you didn't Google MSL?
Oh, dear.
You said something about Google.
You did all that research, but didn't Google MSL?
Let me see what MSL is.
Any other further comments?
Liaison? I don't even know what that means. Okay.
Any other further comments from the audience, for or against? Hearing none, I'd like to close that public hearing.
Richard just has.
Whoops.
Oh, sorry, Mike.
Reopen.
My question is, why
Yeah.
does a cruise ship have to have a big a license
Yes.
and take away the business of Eastport?
Yes.
They're not allowed to serve liquor while they're in port on the ship. Is that true?
I do not know.
Unless they have a license.
Well, they have a license from the city, yeah, so now you're taking the money away from the businesses of Eastport.
Actually, they're giving the license powers away from the council to Brian, the police chief.
Not for this one. That's a separate.
Wait till we get to that item. I think you'll be surprised by what
It
happens.
may or may not be, but that, just to clarify, the city tonight is something that they're going to vote on to give away that power. So the liquor license will be given to the cruise ship by, in part, the Port Authority.
Chris,
Discuss it when we get to that.
Yeah. Oops, I don't think he
Can you
wants to hold on
can
to
you-
that any longer. What's a very good questions.
Chris, can you give us some history on why this is happening this year?
Sure. I'm Chris Gardner, I'm Port Director. It is standard practice, just so everybody knows, that at least in Maine, when these ships are in port, that they operate their restaurants and whatnot while they're still in port. Part of operating their restaurants is they have to get all the licenses in place. And part of that is they have to have the liquor license in place to run the restaurants. Point being is that some of these ships have thousands of people aboard them, and they don't all come ashore. So they still want to be able to serve their customers that may not come ashore, and thusly they need to make sure they can still run their restaurants and whatnot aboard the vessels. Nobody has, at least in my 20-year experience, I've never heard anybody from the business community ever have a concern that it somehow was robbing from their business. The fact of the matter is, we don't have, some would argue, have the capacity to otherwise service that many people all at once. It would crush our restaurants and bars and whatnot. So the fact of the matter is, it's always been a working balance. Happens in Bar Harbor, it happens in Port. Up until now, to your point about elected municipal officers, because of the way that the charter reads, is that in 1977, the people of this town, through the Port Authority Charter, delegated certain rights and responsibilities to the waterfront activities to the Port Authority. And as such, the elected board of the Port Authority was the one that was granting these under signature previous to this. However, in some research, and Dennis can speak to it, that there's an anomaly there that the Port Authority is one of one, right? We only exist as one in the state of Maine. There aren't other things like us. So as a result, we fall into a little bit of a donut hole. Nobody knows exactly how to handle us that way. So to clean this up, the thought process was to come back to the council and figure out a way to let the council conduct its business as it needs to be. And if there is any talk of delegation, at least from the Port Authority's perspective, I don't want it to be to me at all. Would it be perhaps to the Port Authority Board, which if they are elected municipal officers,
But they're not.
maybe dollars, but yes.
Port
that would
Authority
make more
is elected, the
sense.
Port Authority Board is elected.
It's elected, but it's quasi-municipal, it's not a municipal.
Well, either way, we have delegated to us the waterfront operation and responsibilities under our charter per Maine state law. So as a result, they do have authority. For instance, we have the right of eminent domain that's been given to us by the legislature. So they are a qualifying municipal entity under all federal and state statutes. So that is why the thought process is that the Port Authority would be doing this, because that is a bifurcation of, that's a waterfront activity, not an in-town activity. But the Port Authority is happy to do whatever the council would like to do to help make this work. We just want to continue to make it work. And, you have some establishments here tonight that are actually reapplying for liquor licenses. I'd be curious if they feel as though that is somehow encroaching upon their business. I don't want to speak for them, but my 20 years of experience would be the first time I've heard that. So I'll just leave it at that. That's why we're here tonight.
Well, that clears it up, Chris. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
You have a gentleman in the middle.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Gentleman in the middle right there, yep.
Quick question. Have the ships indicated that they do not have the ability to serve liquor license here, that they would in turn stop coming? Question number one.
Whoops.
Question number two is, you sell them the authority, the license.
We don't sell them.
You don't sell them?
No, it's just a
It's a permission.
It's
So
a
there's
signature
no revenue
permission. There's no
generated.
revenue generated from it.
Well, question number one, have they indicated that they would pull out?
And question number 3, could you state your name, please, sir?
Greg Ortega.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To be fair, I haven't gone down that road with them as of yet, because it's never been an issue, right? It's always been standard practice, if you will, within the industry. I will say that anything that takes you outside of standard practice is usually not looked upon favorably,
Right.
but they want to make sure that they can service all of their guests. And many of them don't get off the vessel. So I can think that it would probably be somewhat problematic for them, but obviously not having the chance to ask that directly, I couldn't speak specifically on it.
Okay, thank you.
Very well.
Thank you.
I have a question. My name is Chris Johnson. Do we have jurisdiction over the people in the water, meaning on the boat in the water?
I think the jurisdiction is when they come into our port,
When they're docked.
which is the Port Authority, when they're docked.
And then, so do they have to follow all of our other rules then? Like have their boat inspected by the health department and stuff like that? Then why has this not come up before?
Well, if I may, let me just clarify exactly what we're doing with respect to this single request. The liquor license is granted by the state, and it's a requirement of the state. So the state has said that cruise ships are required, if they're going to be serving alcohol while docked, to have a liquor license. Despite the fact that obviously we can't get out of the ship and get a drink. They can only serve their own people. Frankly, it surprised me. I didn't realize that was a requirement. And I've actually received 2 calls from 2 different law firms dealing with cruise ships who are asking me this question too, because they seem surprised. That doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just unusual for other places. We have to locally approve every new liquor license and every renewal unless it's 5 years and something else that don't go to the weeds. And so that's what this process is. As Billy indicated, historically we've always gone to public hearing. It's not required. And when we get to the topic, which Bertie was addressing, like I said, I'm going to just apologize in advance not using the word delegate, because that is not what I'm proposing. We'll get to that when we get there. The council has to approve the liquor license. So that's why we're here today. having going to the port because, as Chris said, there's kind of an unusual situation, the kind of quasi-municipal organization we are, the kind of powers they have. The liquor board said, no, we prefer the municipality to do it, and so that's what we're doing today. And as far as why other laws don't apply, and that's what I can't speak to it, it's the state's requirement.
Well, theoretically, the state's going to require them to pay sales taxes on sales that are done within state waters. Theoretically, they're going to have to have some kind of arrangement with them for supply, because liquor licensees in the state are required to purchase their alcohol through the state's supplier.
That's just stupid.
Oh, I'm sorry. You still going?
You can go first.
Okay, you were ready. Yeah, so actually, I just wanted to clarify here that in the past, up until this item that is being voted on to approve a new license for DNSL, or whatever they are, prior to this, the Port Authority has been acting as a municipality all of its own, and in terms of this process, that they have been granting approvals on their own. The board of the Port Authority has been
And the state has been accepting it.
Okay, just want to clarify that.
Josh, could you please state your name, please? And could the future people please state your name first so that other people can hear and understand who's talking?
Sure, yes, my name is Josh.
Thank you.
Hi again, I'm Bertie Velveteen, Eastport resident. My understanding is that the Port Authority is not municipal, it is quasi-municipal, which is a gray area. For example, I recently made a FOA, which is a freedom of access request. It means that you can get documents that are part of your government. For example, how much the Port Authority pays the city in docking fees, and the answer was $0. $0. So as much as people would like to think of the Port Authority, as much as the Port Authority is acting as a municipal entity, it's actually quasi-private, and it's private equity that largely controls the Port Authority. So I just want to be very, very clear that the Port Authority and its elected board are not municipal. They are quasi-municipal. Thanks.
Thank you. Further comments, questions? Whoops.
Again, Chris Gardner, Port Director. I just want to clarify something. There is no private equity within the Port Authority. The Port Authority's equity all belongs to the citizens of Eastport, and that has been that way since its inception.
But it means that we're on the hook for the loans, though, right?
Actually, truth be told, there's some question on that as far as the Attorney General's office goes. That goes back to 1978 when that question was asked. But to your point, the people of Eastport, not necessarily the municipality, but the people of Eastport otherwise would be. And the way that they would settle their debts in such a case would be to liquidate assets. And just so everybody is aware, the Port Authority has a debt structure that's somewhere around $2 million. Our asset base is somewhere north of $50 million. So if it came to that point, they would have to liquidate, and then from that point on, it would go to the citizens of Eastport, whether that instrumentality, forgive me for that word, is going to be through the city or not. That was a discussion that was had way back, and I shared with the city the Attorney General's opinion on that back in, I think it was the 80s, that very question was asked. So that's what we have. Thank you.
Revisited the 80s.
Whoops, Brian, right behind him.
Christina Turner. The last cruise ship come in was the first time I had come down for a cruise ship to see how it, all worked. And there were a couple of ladies that got off the cruise ship, and as far as I could make it was a picnic table that was across from the vendors. That's what they got to see, Eastport, but they enjoyed the cruise ship. So for them to get to the crab or get to the wacko or get, I think there's a lot of elderly on that ship. And if they want to sit down and have a glass of wine, I guess I don't have a problem with them having one on the ship.
They can't use it because our sidewalks are unusable.
No, it was a flat, breakwater.
No, but that's why they can't.
We need to have one at a time speaking, please, and again, please state your name so that we know. Thank you for those that have been doing it. And I think I have one in the middle.
I just want one clarification that if whatever's changed and now we need to have this authorization done per ship, per season, how that works, whichever it is, I do know from past experience that when you are looking for a license, it does have to come to city council. And I've also seen with the cruise ships changing daily. Some are coming, some aren't. New ones coming, new ones aren't. If we had to wait for a city council meeting for each approval, that could, in my opinion, hinder the possibility of doing that. So if not granted that ability, would that be a possibility?
That is the first item under new business.
Okay.
Thank you. Hearing nothing else, I'd like to close that public hearing, please. Item 5, action on public hearings. You can either do them separate or you can put them all together.
We need to break Chrissy's out, please.
Need to break it out?
Yeah, we can talk about that one separately. We can certainly grant it to her, but I'm actually not sure. I think we might do better to give her $75 and make better plans how to do this next year. But
we got our money. No, we're not giving it back.
With council's permission, shall we just address that first?
You can.
Yeah. So so Chrissy operates her donut business, which is a tent that you work in, right? So it's not like it's a van. It's a separate thing she builds out in, and it's not self-powered, right? You need external electricity. And she came to us actually at the 4th of July, wanting to see if she could continue to go on the 5th, because there would still be people here. And what we actually determined then was that the 4th of July, since the 4th of July insurance ran until the 7th, we just continued the event continuing through the 5th. Victular licenses and mobile vending licenses are not required during special events or festivals that you guys approve. So that was an easy one. But then Chrissy asked, could she operate her business outside of a special event? And it turns out our ordinances are not well set up for that. Victular licenses either presume you're in a self-contained vehicle, in which case you also need a mobile vending license, or that you're in a building. Even if you have a mobile vending license, if you want to be on city property in general, the only place that's allowed in the ordinance is the lot behind the post office, where there's no electricity. I basically didn't have a good answer for her. I couldn't come up with a way that would be compliant with our existing ordinances that would make it work for her. And as you said to me, you just kind of want to start the conversation and open things up. We will give her her money back. We didn't know what we were doing. She gave us what we already did. Thank you, Cammie, wherever you are. So I don't actually think that we need to take action on this right now, because we really can't issue it without having a better location. But it's one of the many things we have to resolve.
So to fix this, are we looking at a change in policy or a change in
It's going to need a change in ordinance. It's going to need a change in ordinance. And we're going to, I think, it may also, I don't want to get too far down the road here, her issue of needing electricity. We have the electrical hookups in the Fishman parking lot right now, but we've never charged for them. That's something of an issue. And we don't have any formal process even for our special events. So, assuming that life will be somewhat calmer once the snow starts coming, I think if we can look at that in the fall. But because it's an issue for her, I mean, we could probably take time to revise and review all of our ordinances. But since we have an existing need, I think that would bring it more to the front. That fair?
Yes. I've also set up an Overlook Park, which there's power down behind there too.
Okay.
So you need no action.
I don't think we need any action there. We could award you a license, but you couldn't use it.
4B.
So, yeah.
So we'll do 4A, new victualers license for Rumry Eastport LLC doing business as the Rumry 56 Water Street.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Councilor Dana Cummings.
Yes.
Councilor Moran.
Yes.
Councilor Boone. Sorry, Councilor Stevens.
Yes.
Councilor Seeley.
Yes.
Councilor Boone.
Yes. Item 4C, renewal, yes,
That should
renewal.
be Budzik, right? Is that?
What's that?
The names are wrong in the
Spelling.
agenda, so.
Renewal of liquor license for Sherry Lynn and McKenzie, whatever her last name is, doing business as Ye Old Hookers. It still sounds the same, but it just dropped the E.
Okay.
The D.
I'll motion to approve that.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Counselor Dan Cummings.
Yes.
Counselor Moran.
Yes.
Counselor Stevens.
Abstain.
Counselor Seeley.
Yes.
Counselor Boone.
She abstained.
Abstain. Thank you.
Yes.
Had a question.
And yes.
Okay.
So 4 yes, 1 abstain.
I'm sorry, who abstained?
I did.
Counselor Stevens. And 4D, new liquor license for BMSL Limited Cruise Ship.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Counselor Dana Cummings.
Yes.
Counselor Moran.
Yes.
Counselor Stevens.
Yes.
Counselor Seeley.
Yes.
Counselor Boone.
Yes. Item 6, scheduling of new public hearings.
Right, and actually, that was just left over from the previous agenda. My apologies.
That should have been another adjustment to the agenda.
Oh, actually,
Take
but
that one out.
we're about to deal with some public hearings from the ones we missed last time.
So let's do it now.
I'm sorry, I guess we could have, yes, so we're kind of taking 6 and 7 together. Due to my oversight, we did not publicize the public hearings that we scheduled for this meeting on the firearms ordinance, which was, I believe, striking section 2.
Correct.
And on the motor vehicle ordinance, which was...
Skateboard.
I'm sorry?
Skateboard.
On skateboard ordinance, which is striking
The whole thing.
the whole thing. Is that correct, or did we leave section 1? No, that was, we striking the whole thing.
Yeah.
So the motions from last time, we just need to execute those again. We can do it at the September meeting. I'm sorry, I meant to sit down and think if we really want to do it sooner, what would the earliest be that we could do it, but I did not get that date, if we want to do a special meeting for it. I can try to figure it out, or we can just schedule it for September.
And are we clear on the motor vehicle is just a golf cart issue on
Well,
section
we
8?
wanted to discuss that more, right?
The signage. and-
Yeah, there was no action taken on the motor vehicle last
Yeah.
time. We didn't schedule anything.
Right.
Okay. So you're looking to schedule the 2 public hearings?
Yeah, two public hearings.
For firearms and skateboard.
And
What date is
actually,
it?
if, the minutes you have, the minutes I gave you for last meeting should have the motions we should make again, just changing August to September.
Right here.
Thank you.
So we're making a motion to move the public hearings to September 10th meeting?
Correct.
So we're,
And if we could use the language used before, just so it's specific in the minutes, what the amendments are that will be considered.
always give this to me.
He wants you to read.
I know, but introduction and scheduling the public hearing for amendments. I move to set a public hearing for the amendments to the firearm ordinance, to hold a public hearing to amend the firearm ordinance by striking section 2 on September 10th.
That one
I'll
motion?
second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Counselor Dana Cummings.
Yes.
Counselor Moran.
Yes.
Counselor Stevens.
Yes.
Counselor Seeley.
Yes.
Counselor Boone.
Yes.
I move to hold a public hearing to repeal the skateboard ordinance on September 10th.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Counselor Dana Cummings.
Yes.
Counselor Moran.
Yes.
Counselor Stevens.
Yes.
Counselor Seeley.
Yes.
Counselor Boone.
Yes.
Are we doing one for the motor vehicle?
No.
Okay.
The way we left it, since I listened to the minutes 2 hours ago, was that there was some question I had to do with asset access routes and golf carts and all that other stuff, and that we, and the we was kind of loose who the we was going to be. We're going to sit down and talk about it and figure out what we wanted. So if that hasn't been done, perhaps all that needs to happen is that conversation that happened, and you could just bring, if you know what you want to change, you could bring that as an agenda item for scheduling it September for October.
Okay.
And as council president, I'd like to apologize for Councilor Seeley for that error, and we will move forward with it. Thank you.
I realize we've been dragging.
It's so chill tonight.
Well,
do what we can.
We have put a lot on this gentleman's shoulders, and certainly appreciate everything you're doing, so either way. So we're on to item 8, new business. Item A, delegation of approval for cruise ship liquor license to city manager, police chief, and port director for the remainder of the calendar year 2025.
So yes, I apologize for the word delegation. I should have probably written a more general agenda item. We discussed this at some length at the last meeting, actually, because there we actually did talk about possible delegation. We hadn't worked out all the issues involving the fact that the port had been doing this. We thought there was some possibility that the state would be able to see what we see in the quasi-municipal use, but it didn't happen. And so we could talk about delegation, and Dennis very helpfully pointed out that probably wasn't going to work. I spoke with representatives of the alcohol board. Actually, I was at a training in Augusta that involved liquor licensing, and I spoke with them to try to get a better idea of what was required for local approval, because we don't have a written policy on what we do. As Billy said, we've just always gone to public hearing kind of over and over again, to John's point. And now to Melissa's point, there's some concern that our usual process, which involves, what it usually happens is the owner contacts the state and files initial paperwork. The clerk, currently me, is notified that the paperwork has been filed. We then place an agenda item to schedule a public hearing. You come into that hearing and you schedule the public hearing for the next month. For situations where businesses are taking time getting started up, or for renewals where you know well in advance when your date is, all that lead time isn't a problem. It's a bigger issue for cruise ships. Not just for the cruise ships, but for us keeping track of, because for a public hearing we have to do notifications. We usually do that with Body Tides. We're all aware that we love the Tides, but it has an interesting publication schedule that we have to keep track of. And so the aim at the last meeting was to try to find a way to streamline this process. I believe, and I don't want to speak for council, but the spirit I took away last time, we're not concerned about any particular risk from the patrons on the ship. If we did, we would want the right to be able to control that, but in general, that has not been a concern. So my intention here, so let me finish one thing. There is no obligation to hold a public hearing. I want to make that clear. The state permits you to. It's may language, not shall language. We probably need a written policy. You know how much I've loved bringing written policies. I haven't had a chance to write this one up. So all I was hoping that we would agree on right now was that the council would be willing to schedule approvals of liquor licenses for cruise ships if recommended by the city manager and the police chief. I've also included Chris, just so Chris could give a thumbs down, potentially, if there is an issue with something. But there's some questions about the boundary there, and that would not be a deal breaker in any of this. The intention is not to delegate your power. It's simply to make what we think is mostly a bureaucratic process here move more quickly.
So are we basically going around the hearing part?
Well, you make it sound like then we're avoiding. You don't have to have a hearing. We've just always done it that way. But yes, I'm sorry, but to speak directly to your point, yes, the intention is to take away that obligation and therefore all that lead time.
And the mention earlier of after a licensee has been licensed for 5 years
with no problems,
then it can be done with a renewal application and all.
That's actually a statute.
It is.
I had not realized that before, but that they should be asking for a waiver to do it, but if they can, it gets granted unless there are complaints. So all that we should be at least writing up a procedure, so at least agree what we normally do, whether you want to make it as formal as a policy we could discuss. But the motion I'm looking for here is that for the remainder of calendar year 2025, that the council would be willing to waive public hearings on cruise ship liquor applications with the approval of the city manager and police chief.
So we would still vote on this,
You would still vote on it.
because I wouldn't want to give them a vote out for that.
Carte blanche.
But, to Melissa's point, if we were in a situation where the port could stand to make a fair amount of income on a ship that doesn't have a lot of lead time,
Right.
I would be able to call, a special meeting with
Special
that
meeting,
that
yeah,
notification
48
rather than
hours.
a 10-day, all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Rather than do a public hearing and that.
Right.
Right.
Chris, got a question.
Chris.
Oh, yeah.
If I may, one of the things that, and Chris Gardner, Port Director, one of the things that might help push this along, not push this along, but help it streamline it, I guess, for the better, lack of better terms, is again, from the port's perspective, we just thought this was streamlined, right? But if the city wants to do it this way, we're 100% behind it. We'd love to not have that responsibility, 100%. But what I may suggest is that we get the same 6 lines every year. And just in your thought process, understanding whether it's the Zandam or the Volendam, right? It's a Holland America ship. Perhaps we could go at it and grant licenses for a season to the lines. So they don't. So if they, whatever ship they choose to bring, that as long as they're a licensed entity, doesn't matter. It's just something to consider. Because that, if we could do that, like maybe at the beginning of the season, and you could have a full public.
You're talking
hearing.
about next year.
Next year, but a full public hearing. Say, look, we anticipate these 7 lines are coming to Eastport, Maine, and we may or may not have requests from them at any given time, or at that given time, I should say. But if nothing else, that allows the council to vet that, discuss that, vote on that, authorize that. And then that line knows that it is set for the year 2026. And we'll see you again in 2027.
I think that's possible. I spoke at, like I said, some length with the Babel people in Augusta.
Sure.
I didn't discuss specific strategies, but I kept saying, so we have a lot of freedom to choose how we want to do approval. Sure. You don't have to wait for the application to be complete to give approval. You can just be approached and put it that way. You do have to approve. And then that's again where I said what you want probably there is at some point a written policy so that you know what you decided to do. And I would, of course, if we came to something like this when we talk about it in February, I want to ask the alcohol people. I don't want them to be upset about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And again, just for the record state that I know Brian's kind of spoke loosely about the port director. I only exercise the authority granted to me by the Port Authority board. So whatever would be brought, I would just be speaking on their behalf and have to do so with their approval. Just make sure that's abundantly clear. Thank you.
Do we have a motion?
I don't suppose you wrote down what I said, Victoria.
Victoria, we appreciate you. We genuinely do.
You wanted a motion to forego a public hearing.
Maybe the motion be to waive public hearings for liquor license applications from cruise ships with the approval of the city manager and chief of police.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? I think the word may kind of covers us. We may have a public hearing or we may not.
Correct.
So I don't know why.
You're not binding
Right.
yourself either way. But
If
you're
it's
making-
shall, we have a different
Right,
situation.
so I mean, to waive it is saying that you are waiving something that you have to do. We're not waiving it, so.
Technically, I would argue, you could make the point you don't need to make a motion, that you have the freedom to do this whatever way you want, but probably for clarity's sake, it's not a bad idea for this calendar year. That's why I brought it
And
forward.
disclosure. It's been moved and seconded.
I would Yes, it has. I would urge that we remove the word waive, because I don't think that we need that word. We're not violating anything. We could just grant the delegation the approval. That's just my
Since
thought.
I didn't write it down, I'm not sure it makes grammatic sense if we just take the verb out. I think we need something there.
I wrote it down this time.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. So what do we have
No,
now?
I'm supposed to. Okay. Grant delegation authority to, for public hearings. No, you said to waive public hearings. Yeah.
I didn't say it.
No,
The motion said that.
Grant delegation
No, we don't.
to city manager and chief of police, or to waive public hearings for cruise ships. I don't know.
Yeah, okay, let's try this again, because
Yeah.
the word delegation caused some angst, and I don't want to
Exactly.
repeat it if we don't have to. That but pardon me while I'm thinking of it. The reason we're struggling is that we're changing a behavior that's not required or even written down. So, are you starting to suggest something, Dennis?
Well,
Like, help me,
I'm
please.
starting to suggest that the reason why you're having this motion is that you're not, that you're still going to do things, at least for the time being, with everybody else who's making those applications for you, like the ones who were here tonight, having that public hearing. It isn't. Otherwise, you don't really have any good excuses to use a different procedure for a specific class of applicants.
So
are we saying the city manager and chief can bring to the council a request to approve the liquor license for an incoming cruise ship?
Without a public hearing.
Without public hearing. There we go.
For the
Did we
remainder
vote that?
of 2025.
For calendar year 2025, yes.
Yes, I am a teacher.
Next.
I've heard it like 6 times. Calendar year.
It takes a village to make it.
So, I guess I'd ask, would the current motion be willing to withdraw?
Yes.
The current motion is off the floor. Is there a new motion?
Well, then, would you like to make a motion?
I move that the city manager and chief of police can bring to the council a request to approve a liquor license for the incoming cruise ships without public hearing for the calendar year 2025.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilor Dana Cummings?
Yes.
Councilor Moran?
Yes.
Councilor Stevens?
Yes.
Councilor Seeley?
Yes.
Councilor Boone?
Yes. Item 8B, request from Suzanne Coley and Heron Weston to be appointed to the Zoning Board of Appeals.
I don't have much to add. We've been seeking members.
I was going to say, this is the one that we were short
We were
on.
very short, and both, we've been putting an ad out requesting people put their names in, and these are the names we have received.
They are both residents.
Yes, Heron's a resident. He's
I know Heron.
out running UT right now, and Suzanne is, there you go, back there.
Do I have a motion?
I know Suzanne said, can we hear from her, like, why she wants to be here?
Why she wants to be on the board.
Yes,
Yep.
she is.
Yeah.
I am here
Would you like to see why you want to be on the board?
because I have experience and I figured that I can help the residents. And we have, nobody's raising their hands, so I figured I'd help. I've gone through it once, a couple of times. And I think that we need people to get involved.
You said you had experience? I didn't hear all you said, sorry.
I have gone through it, Colleen. Actually, yes.
You gone through the training?
No, through process.
The Board of Appeals.
She's been before the board. of Appeals.
Yes.
Is that what you're
That's
saying?
right.
Yes.
Thanks.
She's brought it in the past.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No hearing, Weston here.
No, Heron's not here. He's in.
So my only question is, like, I know a couple of other boards we've asked or we've mentioned that we wanted to start a process on how everybody is
Right.
appointed. And I don't
But we haven't
understand.
started that process yet.
It's,
But the zoning board has a specific requirement in the charter
Which is,
that they need X amount of people. This isn't like the committee.
and we are just dangerously close to not having quorum, so that would be a problem. I spoke very informally with the chair, Greg Noyes, who said, basically, we need the people. And we'll leave it at that.
Actually, he encouraged me to do it.
Thank you.
I move that we accept Susan Conley and Sharon Westing onto the zoning board of appeals.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilor Dana Cummings.
yes.
Councilor Moran.
I abstain.
Councilor Stevens.
Yes.
Councilor Seeley.
Yes.
Councilor Boone.
Yes. Item 8C has been removed. We're on to 8D, approval of the FAA Grant 3-23-0053-025-2025. Wow, you get some more numbers in there.
But both of these items are, I believe we talked about these grants before, but Dennis, when it came time to sign these things, pointed out we had not voted to formally accept them, so it couldn't be signed at that point. We're on a very tight deadline. I've included a couple pages from each grant. Which one are we on? I'm sorry.
We're on the terminal parking lot and fencing.
Yes, this is to rehabilitate the terminal parking lot and add some additional fencing with the gate. This is essentially work we had hoped to wrap up in the terminal project, but couldn't quite get it to fit in the boundary of it, so the FAA gave an additional grant. This is, the total amount granted is $144,972, of which the federal government pays 95% and the state pays 2.5%. So the commitment from the city is $3,624.30, and that is in the grant line for the airport, that match.
So basically, we're just approving the
We're just saying,
expenditure.
yes, please let's give us the money. I need that to execute the agreement.
I make that motion. City will accept money.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilor Dana Cummings.
Yes.
Councilor Moran.
Yes.
Councilor Boone.
Yes.
Councilor Stevens.
Yes.
Councilor Seeley.
Yes.
I'm supposed to be last, but that's okay.
Oh, you're right. And that-
Okay.
It wasn't a tiebreaker, so you're
One of
good.
these days I won't be doing that anymore.
No, I know.
I
We're on
can't
to
seem to find my copy of what I gave you for the next grant, but that's for construction of a taxiway. That one I think I actually included the page, yeah, if I may. No, it's this one, yeah. This is the 20.
There's one you've got a value on it, a money
Oh,
value.
it looks like I, yeah. Oh, wait, did I do two of the same copy?
No, you didn't.
Okay, I'm losing my mind. Can I see?
So we're on 8E, approval of an FAA
Yeah,
grant
this is the taxiway
3-23-0053-024-2025 for taxi lane construction at the Eastport
It's
Airport.
a taxi lane one. If we discussed it in the past, I would love to give you the exact same kind of numbers I gave you there. And I thought
Is
I
it
had
that
figured
one?
that out. Let's hope. Thank you. $373,124, $373,124, which results in a $9,328 payment for the city. Again, I believe our grant match line is $30,000, so we're well within.
So again, this is no additional expenditure for us.
Not outside of what we budget. No, this is,
Okay.
yeah.
So we are moving to accept this grant
Yes.
for the taxiway.
Yes.
I make that motion.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilor Dana Cummings.
Yes.
Councilor Moran.
Yes.
Councilor Stevens.
Yes.
Councilor Seeley.
Yes.
Councilor Boone.
Yes. 8F, accept $150 for cemetery lot and perpetual care lot C-5, Section E from Maze Funeral Home.
For those of you who haven't done this before, just every time we sell a lot, essentially, it has to be formally accepted by council.
From Maze Funeral Home, though?
Yeah, they're owning the lot.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'll make the motion to accept the 150 for the cemetery lot virtual care from May's Funeral Home.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Counselor Dana Cone.
Yes.
Counselor Moran.
Yes.
Counselor Stevens.
Yes.
Counselor Seeley.
Yes.
Counselor Boone.
Yes.
I need to ask you folks to sign this, and it was not updated with all of your names. I apologize. Actually, the only person who's still here is Billy. So, pick a line, sign it.
Dear.
You saying something? Wow. Item 9, Brian, minutes of previous meetings.
Yes, you should have minutes from the July 9th regular meeting and the 21st and the first special meeting.
I'm moving to table those because we haven't had time to review them.
You have an item D from your adjustment.
G,
Carol.
yes.
Oh, yes, to accept Chris Carroll's resignation from the Energy Commission. Thank you.
I'll motion to accept his resignation.
I'll second it.
It's been moved in a second to accept the resignation of Chris Carroll off the Energy Committee. Is there any further discussion on the motion? And yes, Victoria, thank you
You're welcome.
for catching that.
For seeing my window.
Hearing none, roll call, please.
Counselor Dana Cummings.
Yes.
Counselor Moran.
Yes.
Counselor Stevens.
Yes.
Counselor Seeley.
Yes.
Counselor Boone.
Yes.
I motion to table the minutes since we haven't had time to review them.
All 3 sets?
Yes.
Okay, buddy.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to table item 9. Do we have any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Counselor Dana Cummings.
Yes.
Counselor Moran.
Yes.
Counselor Stevens.
Yes.
Counselor Seeley.
Yes.
Counselor Boone.
Yes. Item 10, City Manager's Report.
I had hoped to actually write a report, but time did not permit. So if I go on too long, cut me off. First, I will apologize. You have your financial reports today. They do not have your current budget information. I have not been able to sit down and input it into Trio.
There's a handout for some reason.
Hey, Brian, can you slow down a little
Oh,
bit?
yes, thank
It's
you.
like read back here.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
It is a constant problem, and I appreciate the correction. It's going to kill me to talk this slow. But we do have, we hired Hannah Zwickerhill this week to come in as the administrative assistant. We're going to send her to Danforth next week to learn B&B stuff, so she'll be able to work the window starting probably the week after that. For registrations, which is by far the heaviest thing we have to do. If you're all waiting for me to say you don't need appointments, sorry, not today, probably another couple of weeks. We really need to make sure we have our feet under us. And we need to get our, all of our staff back to what they can handle. They put out a tremendous amount of effort. Everyone's been contributing, learning things they never thought they were going to have to learn. And I think we've gotten everyone's registration done for them, and we've been able to take care of everyone's needs. Maybe not the day they wanted it, but we got through it. I'd like to take the moment to, every now and then some information comes back to me that's incorrect, and I'm one of those people who hates to let just incorrect information be out, but every now and then it comes back often enough. I have a couple things I'd like to correct. I've once again had someone tell me that they think the police chief is not certified or cannot arrest people or cannot bring a gun. I'd like to state for the 4th time in this meeting, the chief has a green pin waiver. He is fully certified. He's a 25-year veteran of the Border Patrol. I am very proud of him and the work he does. And yes, he can absolutely do his job. So if you hear that, please correct folks to that point. That's not the case.
You're the only one.
I'm sorry?
You're the only one that says he's doing a good job. My name's Alan Skinner.
This is City Manager's report, not the audience's report. Please continue. Sorry for the interruption.
Yeah. So, it's tax bill time. And we've had, as usual, a number of people complaining about tax bills. I would like to address, I've said in this meeting several times that we weren't going to try to do revaluation right away because we had a lot of stuff that had accumulated over the last 2 years. Work that had been done on buildings that had not been put into the tax code, buildings that had not been looked at in a very long time, that had had significant changes made to them. And some people have seen their taxes change. I guess I just want to say, property tax is an asset-based tax. You're taxed on the value of your asset. I don't know if that's fair. I have my own opinions about how we do things in this state and in this country, but it is what we're required to do. Our assessor, Wes, who's been with us almost 2 years now, had to learn this from almost nothing, has been doing, again, an excellent job, and one that is not just thankless, but often exposes him to a lot of anger, because people don't like paying taxes. I don't like paying mine. But for us to be fair to everyone in the city, we have to honestly assess the value of properties. And we do the best we can. I'm sure we make mistakes. If we do, there is an abatement process. But I guess I just wanted to put that out there as well, that no one in the city is trying to make life difficult for anyone. We're trying to do our job, and that job has been specified for us by the people of the state and the people of this community. Beyond that, actually, I feel like the city's in pretty good shape, where things are moving slowly but improving going forward. And while we still have an awful lot to clean up on, having 6 city managers in 7 years leaves behind a lot of things that we're still stumbling through. But I appreciate the patience of the council and the citizens as we do what we can. I feel like the trend is good, and we're certainly doing the best we can. Thank you.
So as far as the tax assessments are concerned, is it going to be a process that more and more people are going to have their house reevaluated? Because some people were just shocked with the fact that they didn't realize that the reevaluation was coming to them.
So let me make a distinction. So, if you add an addition onto your house, you will be taxed for that addition, right? You've added to your, I hope that's obvious, but that's how the process works. And what we had was a number of situations where that stuff had not been captured. There are also things that can change, and I don't have Wes here to go through it. Changes in use, changes in the overall condition of the building will affect your taxes. I mean, we've had a complaint. Someone complained that they put an awful lot of work into making a broken down house a whole lot nicer, and they were rewarded by having their taxes go up. And I don't mean to be flippant, but that's how it works. You've created a more valuable asset. You can sell it for more money. That's what we tax on. It's not our choice we can't go around and choose who did good work and who did work that isn't meaningful. If your asset is worth more, you get taxed more on it. I'll just say personally, I have some philosophical issues with that. We tax people on an asset which is also their shelter. But that's how we do things in the state of Maine, and I can't change that. So some people have seen that kind of thing change. At some point, we do have to revalue the entire city. It's going to cost between $150,000 and $200,000, I'm told. It'll probably take 2 years.
So is that bringing someone from outside in?
And that's doing every property and reassessing it from the beginning so that there is a flat basis. But that just getting, as with anything else, just getting assessors in will probably take quite some time.
The last time it was done was 2015, right?
2015. And obviously the 10 years I think is about what's recommended, but we've seen a very, very crazy 10 years in real estate. So our current ratio, which is what the state says, when we add together all our current values, I assume everyone, if you've looked at your tax bill, you realize what you're valued at is nowhere near what your house could sell for, probably, for most people.
I hope so.
Yeah. It's quite a bit lower. So the state says their calculation is that we are somewhere around 60% undervalued. So in other words, what you're valued for is only 60% of what your house is worth. That's why your homestead exemption has gone down, because the state discounts your homestead exemption, because they're saying, we're not going to deduct $25,000 from a value that's actually only 60% of what it's worth. So we're going to only give you 60% of the homestead. Valuation, state valuation plays into a lot of other formulas, and one thing we get out of the valuation is if we can potentially correct the state number as well if it's too high. But more generally, yeah, it's to make sure we're being fair across the entire city, and that we're all judging on the same basis.
May I ask a question?
Under public forum, a couple items later you can, yes. Any other things of the city manager? We're on to item 11, council liaison updates and issues.
I attended the planning board meeting. We were given an overview from Noble Energy Solution on a solar garden project they're going to be working on Indian Road. So, that's about the only thing we did that night. So there'll be a solar garden project going on.
Where is Indian Road?
Delcoy Village.
Delcoy Village.
On the right-hand side as you're going there.
Just across from Gates.
It's shocking how many roads I don't know in the city.
Other council liaison updates?
I don't have anything.
No, I apologize to the seniors committee. I have not been to a meeting in 3 months. But believe me, I've had my phone close to my ear because they're extremely excited about getting into the new building. I know the 23rd is the health inspector's visit, which I think everything will go well. They are coming right along. Actually, this Friday they're going to hook up the gas stove, so things are progressing. It's still a little dusty out there, but I'm sure they'll get it cleaned up. I'm hoping by the end of this month they are in there, so it's going to be a good move for them.
Is that a realistic projection?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was thinking back because I was in Bangor yesterday and Dale had me on the phone, and I remember when Ryan went in there Monday, I said, you better get ready because you're moving in Friday, and that was 3 months ago. Ooh. I'm glad she didn't get ready. But it's taken a while, but it's going to be a much better facility for all of it out there. And the airport, we've had our airport meeting first Tuesday of the month, and this is the second time we've had it at the airport building. It's a beautiful facility. It's definitely getting used more and more. I see Tessa's reports on the PALS flights flying in and out of there, and the cookie greeters are cooking up a storm. But it's a beautiful place, and it's a welcome place for people that need to use that. Other than that, nothing else. Now we're on item 12, public forum. Anybody like to speak, ask a question, throw a concern?
Oh, I already got it for you.
You have to just sing the first 2 lines.
Chris Johnson. What I want to say is with the housing and the taxes, you're essentially de-incentivizing, that's not a word, but taking away any incentive to improve your house. Some of these houses around here could use a coat of paint and everything else. And if the house looks good and you spend time and effort sprucing up your area, I think that there should be a tax break, not an inclusion, at least for the first year or two. Because some people are putting in large quantities of cash into their areas and truly bringing up the neighborhood. But if I sit there and I let my house just go to crumbles, then my tax bill goes down. So why would I ever want to?
Well, because your house would lose all its value then.
Who cares?
The people you might give it to or sell it to, or if you want it to move somewhere. It's a perverse incentive. I'm not going to sit there and defend that. I've heard stories, and I think it's kind of a joke some of the time about the old guy who won't put a coat of paint on his house because he's afraid his taxes are going to go up. But that we can't make we can't make, arbitrary decisions on how much work do you have to do on your house for me to give you a tax break, and how big a tax break? You put a coat of paint on, or if you put in a whole brand new fireplace, that could raise the value of your house $30,000-$40,000. I shouldn't tax that because, that's one thing if it's you and you're breaking your back to do it. What if it's someone who's building an has an investment property and they're trying to make it just to rent? Should I not be taxing them? There are certain mechanisms. If the city wanted to decide that there's like tax increment financing districts, I don't even want to go down there. There are certain state mechanisms for saying, we would like to give tax breaks for certain kinds of benefits. They're typically used for business development. And I don't know very much about them. But that's the only real freedom we have. I'm not going to disagree with your point, but I can't change the way we do the process because I think there might be a bad incentive there. We have to do what our job is.
Well, I'm just not happy with that.
Yeah, I understand.
Billy, whoops. Yeah, I guess I'm going to let Dennis respond to that, I guess, before I go on any further.
The Constitution of the state of Maine requires municipalities to assess the fair value of the property for the purposes of real estate taxes. A fair value is what the house can sell for. That's kind of what they have to go on. And unless there's a change in the Constitution of the state, that's what we're stuck with.
But it's my sweat equity I'm putting in my house. I don't think I should be penalized for...
Well, propose a constitutional amendment, because that's not how some states do it. Some states...
You have the power to not do it.
Louisiana, for example, if you buy a house for $100,000, that's what your assessed value is going to be for as long as you own it. If I'm dumb enough to buy it for $1 million from you, I'm going to get assessed at $1 million for as long as I own it. There are certain exceptions for that, for if you put an addition on or build a swimming pool or whatever. But that's how other states do it. This is how this state has chosen to do it for the past 200 years.
I have Victoria, Jean, and Al. I'll get to you in that order, and then... Hang on, one at a time.
I'll try to be quick. Victoria Gans, Energy Committee and Airport Committee and General, I don't know, I work everywhere now. Let's see. Energy Committee, it is audit time and it's window dressers time. And if you're not familiar with window dressers or window inserts, we have a grant to measure and build window inserts that go on the inside of your house, inside your windows, that cuts all the drafting out, basically. I have them in my house. I don't even take them out in the summertime except for a couple of choice windows where I always get breeze through. It keeps the heat in, it keeps the cold out. This is a free, this grant is free. What we ask is that if you have 20 windows in your house, that for every 4 windows, you do 1 hour of work at the window build and come and help us. Or if you are elderly and you're unable to do that, you can have somebody come in your place, or you could maybe make sandwiches or bring snacks or something one day. So if you are interested in having your windows in your house assessed, then there is a form at City Hall on the counter, and there's a little white box that sits on the table in the corner there. You fill that out. Either Meg or Pete living from the airport will get in touch with you. They'll make an appointment to come and measure your windows, and then the build is going to be October 7th until the 12th. The deadline for this is August 22nd. August 22nd. So that's what, next Friday? I believe that's next Friday. So, but again, this is a free service to you if anybody's interested. We did over 200 windows last year and over 200 the year before. And it takes us about a week to put everything together and then get them delivered or have people come and pick them up. pardon me, sorry. As for the airport, you're going to see some more construction going on in the parking lots. When the folks came and they did the grading for the parking lot, they not only made the parking lot too short and too small, they also made the long-term parking too short, too narrow. So you couldn't park a Ram truck in that long-term parking without it sticking out into the roadway, which means that we wouldn't be able to plow around you in the wintertime. So the engineer is working with the construction company. You're going to see them come back. They're going to be doing more paving, more striping, and I didn't want you to see stuff going on in there and wondering, you know, what the heck's happening. Nobody said anything. So that should be coming up here pretty soon. Lastly, on the taxes, I had the opportunity to sit down with Wes, and maybe this example will make things a little easier for everyone. A house was assessed, say in 2015, at $60,000. A couple of years ago, it sold for $200,000. The person that came in fixed the house up. They're going to sell the house for $400,000. Their tax assessment went to $150, from $60 to $150. Not $60 to $200, which is what the person bought it for, and not $60 to $400, which is what the person is selling it for today. So they're being very judicious about these increases. Thank you.
Thank you. Could you pass it to Jean, please? She's next. Thank you.
I am Jeannie Pegram. We've been here for 4.5 years. This is our 5th year of tax bills. We have done obviously a lot of improvements to the house because you have to pass by in order to get to town. It's a sad little house. Our taxes have increased 250%. The problem is what we're doing with the structure that has not currently assessed all the buildings in the city is that we are running out the people who want to stay here, because the people who want to stay here and are on fixed incomes can't afford to pay the taxes to live in their own homes. And that has to change, because we have people coming in, they have lots of money, they buy the house, they flip the house, they move on. But what about the people who live here forever? We're not taking care of those people, and something has to happen differently. Thank you.
Thank you. Could you pass that to Al, please, behind you? He's next.
Problem I had with the assessments.
State your name.
Alan Skinner. On 70 Washington Street, we fixed that house up and we did a lot to it. And then I started checking, and then the tax assessment came in and we got the bill and the whole thing. That one went from $2,100 to $4,800 after we fixed it. Then I started looking at it. It was all the sporadic things. Some people got it who fixed up houses, some people got it with permits. It was sporadic all over. Then I started looking. Nothing's been reassessed for the past 3 years on construction, permits and stuff. And even Wes, I spent an hour with him. He's like, I'm just one person. I said, but if it was done across the board to everybody who fixed a house or pulled a permit or something like that, but it was a sporadic thing, and that was a big shock, because now that house is for sale, but somebody's going to look at the tax bill and it's $4,800, so that's $400 a month. But then they look at the one down the street, that's a little more, and the taxes on that one is $1,800 or $2,100. Yeah. So it definitely put us out of the ballgame of fixing houses in Eastport, flipping them. But putting $300 and some thousand into that house between purchasing and building it, and then getting hit with that tax bill and hitting on that side. And when I went down to talk to Wes, and he says, well, your house is only assessed for $369, or whatever it was. Want me to buy your house for $360? I go, that's not how it works. I said, the bill is $4,800 for the taxes. That's how everybody's going to look at it. Yeah, that was a big jump from $2,100 to $4,800. Then I start looking at other things on the budget, and you see me venting with the budget getting pushed and stuff. But there's different things on there to me that are not stupid, but it makes you look like the fire hydrants, $250,000 a year rent since 1983. Yeah. The solid waste, 168,000. Different things could have been trimmed down, I thought, but they went from the 5% to the 9%. And then with the taxes coming in, yeah, like we got hit. And a couple times I called Brian on a couple things, he didn't answer the phone, he didn't return my phone call, hear from him. So it builds up after a while. With the police chief, all the other stuff, the school, the crossing. I was working on Washington Street, the cars are doing 50, 60 miles an hour. The kids are crossing. And I left messages with them. I said, put the cone in the middle of the road. Didn't get a call back. So after a while, everything boils up. And to us, it's hard to trust the council because they're not looking out for the things that are important to everybody else. So.
Can I address just a couple of the specifics? Just so, hydrant rental is an incredibly unfortunate name. The very first council meeting I went to 28 years ago, this issue came up. And I will confirm this information. I did work on it during the budget thing. I couldn't dig up my notes from it in time for this meeting. Hydrant rental is an amount that is determined by the state for a utility. And it reflects the cost of the maintenance and preservation of the fire hydrant system. Because, as I'm sure you're aware, the amount of pressure and water you need out of a hydrant is orders of magnitudes lower than we just need to have water come out of your faucet. And it's an amount that's determined as paid to the water district to fund that. It's a terrible name because you're not the only person who's asked, why do we rent instead of buy? I think they call it rental because it is an ongoing expense that you don't pay it just once. However, I will confirm that amount, but my understanding is that that's an amount imposed on us by having a water system, and I don't have any flexibility there.
But isn't there any way to get with somebody, the membership on there? It should be one or two people from Eastport. Now I see Clark was the last one, but he moved out to Perry. Is there somebody that's trying to get these things down or talk to them? Because
There is a board, and it's elected board. It's an elected board.
That's somebody in our board is talking to try to fight for the citizens to get it down to 200,000 or something like that. You know what I mean? Because over 10 years, those fire hydrants, and I know the upkeep and stuff, but I figured it out. It's over $10 million that the city's paid for.
I will go and check, Alan, but again, my belief is that, so I can't set the water rate. It's an elected board, so all the citizens from the participating communities are there. That board sets that rate, and the rental is based off the rate and the installation base. But I'll get that for you. Where I'm going with that is, that's not a number I can, that's like county tax to me. I can't change it once it's been set. What was the other one you raised?
2 years ago to a council member, they said, well, it's too expensive to buy out the fire hydrants. And even back then, I was like, I think it would cost $1.8 million.
Well, I'm going to leave that there. We can talk about that in more detail later. So quickly, solid waste. So we belong to Marion Transfer. Solid waste is that amount. Any garbage, I think everyone knows this, every pound of garbage that you get taken away from your house costs the city 7 cents. Right? You are not paying for that cost out of if you're paying, Jimmy Barnes or Shane to take your garbage. You're just paying to have it transported to Marion. Every pound, it's 7 cents. I sit on that board as the Eastport representative. The transfer station had just raised its per pound rate by a penny a year and a half ago, I want to say, a year ago. And now they'll finally be able to purchase equipment to run it out there. But that's a quasi-municipal group of people. Solid waste went up $38,000 this year. I agree with that. But that's not because was 60% of that was the penny increase. But that means 40% of it is just we're generating that much more garbage. And that doesn't surprise me. That's demo. that's demolition stuff, and yeah.
But both companies, when I get a 30-yard dumpster, they charge me for the dumpster and the weight. And they come back with...
I'm sorry, you're right. I haven't done a dumpster in years and years and years, and I forget how that works. I'd have to go back. If they're charging you per pound on that, then they're charging you there, and I would have to figure out how that works out. But that doesn't change my point, which is just that, yeah, that number went way up, but that's not a number I can just knock down. Let's not do it. It's because they're generating way more garbage. I want to apologize for you not calling you back about the crosswalk thing. The cones disappear when we put the cones out. What we have been doing is during the school year, there's been a lot more policing out there. I know there is because people have complained to me about there being police around the school.
You know where they are at the end of the street, parked off to the side because I dropped my son off.
They go to various places, Alan. Sometimes they stay out in the cemetery because people drag race into the school through there. Coming off of Clark Street, they take that turn and they come through at 40 miles an hour. We've stopped a lot of people down there. That intersection on 190 on Washington is a bad intersection. One thing that has happened, I've spoken with Missy at the school. She asked if we could get a whole lot more lights, kind of pedestrian lights and everything down there. We could. The price tag is between $10,000 and $25,000, depending on how you look at it, not including installation. So I did not put it in my capital plan. I'll take that hit. I could have done that, but I didn't.
You should have just stuck the cone that you got downtown now for the others to cross the street. That cone, if that would have been in the middle of the street the year before, it stopped everybody.
Fair enough. And perhaps we'll get a bunch more cones. The cones have not been lasting long, and they haven't had a whole lot of effect. But I take that point. And yeah, I'm sorry, I've been busy. I went and immediately spoke with the police after you sent it to me. I didn't come back and talk to you, and that's on me.
Okay, appreciate it.
Lucinda Matty, I received a copy of the charter for the city of Eastport. In reading it, I just moved here in March. In the charter, it says the city council, well, one of the items, which is item 3, provide an annual audit. And my understanding is it hasn't been done in a number of years. My question is, that being said, it hasn't been done, how does the state know how much we spend and how much we can get from the state?
Those are two kind of different questions. It would depend. So I'm not entirely sure I understand the second question, because the amount we get from the state depends on the source of the revenue and how it's measured. There's one formula which is unbelievably complicated for the schools, for example. But then there's also money we get from revenue sharing, which is just based, actually I forget what that's based on, that's on population or valuation. So we just completed our fiscal year 22 audit 6 months ago. That's getting auditors is impossible right now. The county, I think, just finished 2021. It's not about not wanting to be audited, it's about finding an auditor. Now, having said that, we switched auditors right before I joined, so that's about 17 months ago. And fiscal year 23 and 24 are both underway. We're waiting on the auditors now. They've asked some questions, but they've been down, they've been in the offices, they've taken all the information. In the old days, you used to be able to close out your books in June and have an audit done in February or March. COVID blew all of that out of the water. And I tell people, when I see young people, I say, please become policemen or accountants, because there are two things we have not enough of. So that's what's going on with the audit right there. We do have the 22 audit. As soon as the 23 and 24 are done, we'll be presenting them to council, and we'll be sending them to the municipal bond bank because they require them as well, and to a number of other places that want to see the audit. But it's not it's not because we don't want to be audited. The audit actually is really very helpful for us. It confirms our understanding of our unassigned funds, and it makes sure that, in fact, we are doing everything correctly, because there are a lot of moving parts in this small city.
Well, the thing is, with not doing that, and I don't see any financial statements, how do we know how we're doing as a city?
I haven't presented. I presented financial statements through the entire budget process, both as we did projected budget and year to date.
Are they online?
They are not online, and we will get to that eventually. I'm sorry, I have no clerk right now. We just don't have enough people. I haven't posted minutes from the last meeting. That's on me. But we will get there, and if you'd like them, come down and I can
I'm
give
a
it to you.
former auditor, Brian, so perhaps I could help you.
Fair enough. Thank you.
I believe Deb is next.
Yeah, Deborah Gillespie. I had similar questions. First, as it relates to the taxes, how is the value of the house assessed? That, maybe it would be helpful if we had the person who does the assessing to come to the next council meeting and do a little overview of the process that is applied to our houses, so that we understand how you get the core assessment. Is it based on what other houses are selling for, or is it based on something else? And then from there, that would be really helpful, because I agree. My concern is people with families can't afford to live in this community, and we're losing our children, which is our future, and the people that can work in restaurants and so forth. It's really concerning. The second thing I had concerns about is I was trying to check through minutes. I can't find any council meetings since January. And the third thing was financial reports. The next is an annual report. I mean, all of that stuff, so I can try to understand how the finance committee can come up with a budget. I mean, the tax commitments are not even posted for the last few fiscal years. So how do you work a budget if you don't have all of that information at your fingertips? And how can the citizens of the city evaluate whether or not we could be more efficacious in areas?
You are absolutely right. And so first of all, let me say we do have that information. Anybody who's been on the budget committee knows I flood them with numbers, historical numbers, previous numbers. I'm the sixth city manager in 7 years. I started 17 months ago, and all of this was already a problem then. We were behind on minutes with that. Things were getting a little bit better, and then we lost our clerk on Memorial Day. He's still not back. We are very much behind on getting stuff posted on the website. I wish I could promise you when we're going to get it all up there again, but I'm doing the best I can. You may have heard me say, even the financial reports I get, which just a printout off our accounting system, actually don't have this year's budget numbers in them right now, because I've been, instead of being able to manage my budget, I've been doing people's car registrations and trying to keep the city hall running for folks. Things are getting better. We're going to get there, but it's been a long process, and I understand if you, I don't know if you said how long you've been here. You had said you've been here since March. But if you've only seen us since March, you've not seen us at our best. I'll give you that. I'm doing the best I can to bring us forward, but it's been a struggle. And if you would like, if somebody wants to come in, please make an appointment with me. Maybe like the week after next, so I can have a, I think we have new staff and we're getting going. I love talking about the budget. I love talking about the numbers.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, I really do. And we may not agree, but I will listen to what people have to say, and I'll show you everything I can. But yes, we haven't had an annual report go out in quite some time. That among everything else, the annual report is not really a guiding document for us. It's kind of a retroactive thing. So out of all the other stuff you said, we're probably going to get to that one last. But getting financials up, the existing minutes up that we have, it's all on my list to do. It's just going to take time.
Okay, good, because I don't have this. But the other things I was concerned about was, and I think this has been on the agenda a few times, is sidewalks and snow removal. And I know that I read in the Quaddy Times that there was going to be some sidewalk work done this year, but I don't know when that's going to start. And then the weeds around it, and who's responsible for all of that. And are there job descriptions for the public works people? And how many do we have? And how many hours do they work? All of those things I would like to have a little better handle on, so I can be fair in my assessment of what I think could be done or should be being done, and maybe it's impossible not to do. So I certainly will make an appointment with you. Thank you.
We have 3 full-time public works guys. I do not know what state the job descriptions are in right now, but I can take a look for those particular positions. We do have a grant pending to do sidewalk work on High Street from Key Street to Battery. This has been, we just approved the local match. Was it last meeting or the previous one?
Previous.
That's been going on for years. Again, rotating city managers. I need to complete right-of-way clearance and utility clearance of both of those things. And again, that's one of the things that's down in the middle of the to-do list on top of a bunch of other stuff. So at this point, we're hoping to go to bid in the fall for work next year. Just to cover at least the questions I can answer quickly.
All right, thank you.
I got Donna, then I have Suzanne, and then Jean's back at it again.
I beg your pardon.
No, I didn't mean it that way. I meant you're next. Donna.
Donna Murphy. Will the city allow vendors downtown on large shift days when Water Street is closed, or part of Water Street is closed? And if yes, what is the procedure for a vendor to register or get permission?
So at the last council meeting, we approved for the large ships that are 2,500 or more, and I probably have the dates in here somewhere, but I can dig them out later. We granted the Port Authority that those could be special events and that they could use the fisherman's parking lot. I spoke with Chris today, actually. He apparently may have given a confusing message. I don't know if it was to the chamber or to someone else, saying the port wasn't dealing with that. And I said, oh, no, you're dealing with that. So you should talk with the port. They will be the ones who are dealing with vendors and everything during the ships. That's not a city function. We've merely declared it as a special event, so you don't need licenses.
It goes to Suzanne in the back, please. Thank you, Donna.
Well, I hear a lot of complaints or dissatisfaction, and I really feel bad because Brian is really trying to help out. We have a lot of very educated people in this town who don't even show up. One of them, myself, I never come to these meetings. But I think that we should try to get them involved and have a strategy committee that put all these problems or these issues and deal with them one at a time and helps Brian or the council and get things done one problem at a time and put them to bed. I have a few issues. One of my problems is hiring a new code enforcement officer because you have read in the paper that I really have had 2 years of battling with them. And there's a lot of, the best way to put it is lack of truth. There is a lot of dissatisfaction. I don't want to talk about it right now. We can handle that. We can fix that by putting our brains together, hiring just about what I just covered, like for the CEO, we can get the surrounding cities, our neighboring cities involved. I know a good, educated, intelligent person who is dedicated is $150,000 a year, and we don't have the budget. But if there are ways that we can be creative. As I said, a lot of people who are living right now here have come from corporate, they have been executive people in corporation managing billion-dollar accounts, hiring people. But all of these can't be a knee-jerk reaction. It has to be planned. It has to be a lot of effort, a lot of intelligence, a lot of contacts. And I don't think just the city manager can do that. I keep hearing about 10 times today. This is the 7th year, 6th city manager.
6 and 7 years, that's my line.
That's not good for any of us. You got to look into it. We got to fix it. I mean, we either hire them, it's a no-win situation, they have to leave or we fire them. But I've heard from people, 28 years we are talking about the same problem. That's on us.
let's have a plan, let's get some people involved and have a timetable, like any other project that, I have managed corporate, the billion-dollar projects, and this is $7-8 million budget in a small city, and we still have issues. I just don't even contribute to this cause, and I never have. So that is just an observation. I hope that I didn't disturb.
Thank you. Jean?
Quickly, Brian was talking about the budget before, and I participated actively and observing the whole budget committee process. And they did an amazing job. And then when it came to city council vote, it kind of got blown away and discredited. And I think that we either need to trust the budget committee to do the job and go along with what they recommend, or we need to disband it, or we need to go back to being in a town-like setting and voting on the school budget and voting on the city budget, and not leaving it up to the city council to just say, oh, well, yeah, that's nice, but this is what we're going to do. And it was so upsetting to see that happen this spring. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. So, before we go much further, first of all, I need to apologize to this audience. Your direction, your comments should be directed to me, not our manager. Our manager works for us. We direct him what we want to see happen. Secondly, the budget committee. I went to most of those meetings and I saw very few people other than the budget committee members there. Thirdly, I appreciate your comments, Al. I respect you as a person. I disrespect your comments that this council doesn't work for you. This council has sat here, gone through the hearings, gone through the things, and looked at the tax bills because we know it's going to affect each and every one of you as well as us.
But you didn't change anything.
We can't change anything. The only thing we can change is the participation, as Suzanne said. Please come and help us. Come and tell us what you want us to change.
5% to 9%.
5% to 9%. I asked for change too. I didn't get it. But the budget committee, I took their recommendation, and I disrespect Jean saying we took it all out of context. We did not. We took the budget committee's recommendation. Those are people that we put in there to do the budget. I'm not on that committee, but I went to those meetings.
You're telling me that you took the budget committee's recommendation as is and you put it in?
Yes. Well, no, I'm not going to say, wait a minute, Jean. Now you're throwing things out there. I'm saying that the budget committee made changes. They talked about it. They took it home for a week. They thought about it. They come back and made changes. Pretty much, that's what we accepted. The only thing that I think that we did change was, in my mind, the school was up 9%. The city was up 3%. I said, how about if they come down 3 and we go up 3 to even it out, 6%? That's fair.
That may be fair from your perspective, but the budget committee had done the work, Billy.
Yes.
And I wasn't talking to Brian before, by the way, either.
Well, Brian was addressing the audience, and I wanted to apologize for that. It's not Brian's place.
I just feel that the citizens of Eastport need to be more actively involved.
Thank you. Yes.
And in that activity, they also need to have the responsibility to accept a budget.
Yes, I agree with you 100%.
And vote for a budget, exactly.
Yes, I agree with you 100%.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the people can vote on the budget?
Well, this is the year you vote on the school budget. This is the year it goes on the ballot, I think, whether you want to vote on a school budget or not.
But a lot of people have been talking as the council.
Well, it goes on the ballot this year. Isn't this the year it goes on the ballot? Whether we want to vote on the school,
Brian, do you know?
I think that's a proposed item.
Yeah, it is on the ballot every 3 years.
It takes it much like a town type of thing, but it's only on that one part. It doesn't address the parts of how much do you need for police protection, how much do you need for city roads, how much do you need for city administration. It doesn't affect any of those. You elect us to represent you.
Yeah, but it's a bad system. If the people were able to vote for the budgets,
Yeah.
they would know what everything's behind in the budget. You know what I mean? The line items, not just
The line item.
why everybody talks, but not everybody puts it to Facebook like I do. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't go there, but that's neither here nor there. But I do go to the budget meetings, and I do see what the line was last year and what the lines were this year. And I try to see if that's reasonable.
But the people don't see it. The people aren't.
But those are public meetings.
The people can go to the meetings.
They should.
But the people don't see the line items. on
Yes,
the
they do.
budget. They don't.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
Brian done
It's
3 presentations on that budget.
Down on every one of them.
Yes.
Every single one.
He
Everyone.
done every line.
I just got one page with different things on it.
That was the accumulation, but Brian did a PowerPoint presentation here where he broke everything out.
And there was copies laid out for the public.
He didn't need to, it was on here.
60 pages long, but that's how we did
Need
it.
it on screen, you want to see it on a piece of paper.
But a budget is something that you can obtain as a resident. You can obtain a 40-page budget if that's what you want.
I tried, I got one sheet.
Then you certainly need to talk to me or Brian, and we will get you the entire budget. I can let you read mine. I get one every month, and it shows me how much we're spending, how far we are, and everything.
It's broken down.
Every single line. I don't believe that this city council or this city manager is trying to hide anything. What I am trying to do is hold your costs down, your tax dollars. But I can't hold them down if we want to spend $80,000 to clear snow off the sidewalk. That doesn't come out of the sky, people. It comes out of your wallets.
We spent an extra $100,000 on the sidewalks for High Street because somebody was not competent enough with the bond.
And that was 6 years ago when I first came on here, Al. That was already in the works then.
And we could have walked away from that project for $100,000.
I know, you would have hit $100,000.
So we chose not to do that. You could argue the decision, but some things,
I did bond work for 30 years, you know, and I know how it goes, and I know the difference. But what I'm saying, people don't really have the trust in the council. They don't think the council's looking out for the people. You know, they think you get the, and it kind of feels like that.
But then I think it's our responsibility to communicate with council and hold them responsible and participate in this. And I myself am guilty of it because I just don't come here and I expect them to do things for us.
But a lot of towns
And it's their
and
job, they should, I mean, I'm grateful, but.
a lot of towns and cities went to the people voting on the budget
And that,
instead of the council.
And that's a town representation, and you as a citizen have the right to try to change that and make it a town, so we have a town meeting instead of a city meeting, if that's what the majority of the people want. I mean,
Don't you think it's better for you guys, so you don't look like the bad guys all the time?
I don't think we look like the bad guys all the time. I disagree with your statement. I don't hear that from everybody. I hear a lot of good too.
Yeah, there is a lot of good.
Okay.
I'm not saying there's no good. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's certainly a thankless job at times, but for the majority part, I think it's a good job.
And I wouldn't do what you guys do because I don't have the personality to do it.
Thank you for being honest. Vicki, you're next.
I'm Vicki. John has the
Whoops.
mic.
I have the mic, I thought I was next. Oh,
Whoops.
Go ahead.
You are next.
oh, okay, I am next. I don't want to take away a lot from a lot of people. I had a personal issue, but somebody asked about snow removal. I sit on the disability committee. I've taken a little bit of personal offense because I have been pushing to have better committee rules set down. Having said that, we have been looking into getting automated snow removal, at least for downtown at the moment. I personally, myself, have been looking into what amounts to somewhere between $250,000 and $300,000. So that would not be put on the backs of the taxpayer.
For a grant.
For grant.
You've been looking for grants.
Yes. Yes, it would be.
It's an experimental, he has put a lot of time into it.
And I would like to just say that one of the reasons we went down that path was because we did not want to put more burden on the taxpayers for simple and basic services.
Right.
So to address the person, I hope they're still in the room because a lot of people have left.
Yeah, they have.
We are looking into that as a city. We have been pushing, thanks to the council, to do upgrades.
That's the creativity that I was talking about. Brilliant.
There we are.
God help you if I ever go to a budget meeting. I love numbers. Having said all of that, I have a personal issue that I need to bring up. I live on Boynton Street. Boynton Street has become an unbearable bottleneck on the best of days. On July 4th, I was putting my body to help people get out of parking spaces just to get off the street, which, by the way, probably was illegal, but needed to be done. One of the problems, and the biggest problem that I have, is that there are people who are parking on Boynton Street who have parking spaces designated for them, that was built for them off Boynton Street, especially in front of my place. It's an issue that I feel can be solved with a can of red paint on a little bit of the curb, but I know that's a zoning change, and I don't want to say right now it has to be done, but it's unbearable. On the same subject, there are places on the sidewalks on Boynton Street I can't go. There are hedges in the way.
Yes.
That's something else that is unbearable. I don't even know if the people are living in those homes at this moment, but they never trim it other than maybe once a year. That's something that's got to be taken care of as well, because that's not only a safety issue to me and the other residents who are disabled, it is something that is beyond, I think, at least as a committee member, my capability of doing.
Yeah.
A third issue that came up tonight, and it's an issue that's on my street as well, people speeding. I heard people were coming down 40 miles an hour down Clark Street. That's a 25 mile an hour zone. And I realized there was at a time where there was a 35 mile an hour sign and a 25 mile an hour sign, and it's very confusing because they are literally about 100 feet apart from each other. But that's a 25 mile an hour zone. That's something that the police absolutely 100% have to take care of. That's a danger to the people there. There are no sidewalks on Clark Street. That's a danger to the people going to school. There are no sidewalks past the school to Clark Street. That's something that's got to be taken care of. I'm sorry. And it's the same thing with my street. You have people who are coming down my street. They don't stop. They don't stop for you. They fly around you. It's untenable as a person who has to use the street. And there are streets that don't have sidewalks, and the sidewalks we do have, as people have pointed out, are terrible. We're looking into it.
Yeah.
We're trying to find grants for it. We're doing stuff to help on that, but that's something that's got to be taken care of. It is just not worth it. And then people parking on the sidewalks, and in the walkways, and in the walkway that's down here by the port. You can't get around them. They're parked there. I don't know who they were or what they were doing, but they parked like 2 trucks down there.
Yeah.
That's something that's gotta stop. Just out of human decency for people who don't want to be walking in the street.
Right.
John, can I ask for clarification on your first point? You want specific parking blocked?
They're parking on the street. The people who are parking there, they have a parking lot that was built for them. So
at the
maybe
nursing
one
home?
person who has a driveway that's built for them. They don't need to be parking there.
Okay.
If it was put into, if you put red paint down there and it was put into a fire zone, it would solve the problem for about $20, $30.
It's a parking ordinance change, but.
But I
He is
also,
right, Gordon Street gets really narrow.
I also think that we,
Tried taking a UPS truck.
I also think that we could speak to the management of that facility and maybe address that issue without having to spend anything. Just all you could do is communicate.
Believe me, I've tried.
Well, maybe
We'll see
we
what
can try.
All right.
Thank you, John, for your comments. Vicki, I think you're next.
I don't mean to be now because I left.
Okay.
Go get him, Vic.
Wow.
Richard Adams. I just addressing the city manager. Is the city hall open to pay bills?
Yes. Yes, so the main thing we're doing appointments for, frankly, is Bureau of Motor Vehicles. I'm going to say it's 80% of our foot traffic, and it's also the thing that takes the longest. And what finally inspired me to go to appointments was when I came in June, when we hadn't gone to appointments. And I had been away for a couple days, and I walked into 7 people standing in line, all wanting to do motor vehicle stuff, and a couple people at the end were making comments about how terrible this was and how terrible we were doing our job. And I said, you know, I now know how to do registrations. A new registration can easily take 15, 20 minutes if the paperwork's not there, that sort of thing. We just didn't have the people to do it. So it's pretty much for BMV. Now, right now, we have Teresa Porter, the ex-clerk in Calais, helping us out with things like vital records, but she's not there every day, so it's good to call for appointments for that. But we do have the drop box. I know not everyone wants to use it, but I'll point that out. You can certainly just put the slot right next to the door to City Hall. Put stuff in there, that gets taken care of. You want to
Not the one in the corner, that's drugs.
Yeah, not the drug box, not the ballot box. I'm sorry about the ambiguity there. You can certainly bring in payments. If you want a receipt right then, we'll get it for you, or we'll just take them off your hands.
Yeah, I want to know if we could go up to the desk so we get a receipt.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the hours are back for just being open to accept payments are back what they used to be. So 8 to 12, 1 to 4, Monday.
So the front door is now open?
Yes.
So we can go in, because we wanted to pay our taxes, but we didn't want to drop it in the box.
That's fair. You can come right on in.
We want you to pay your taxes.
Yeah.
Come on in.
Do be prepared. If it's been a long day, you may get greeted with, do you have an appointment? And you can just say, I'm here to pay my taxes. We'll say, oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Headlock Sealy, and I live in Pembroke, and it wasn't clear to me whether you could take a comment from a non-resident of the city.
Yes, this is a public meeting. I'll accept your comment. Yes.
I'm very concerned about the facial recognition screening that I'm reading about in Eastport. I had thought there was a very ironclad Maine statute against facial recognition screening anywhere in the state. And so I'm having trouble understanding.
I don't know whether we're doing that.
The only thing I'm aware of is the port is talking about, and please don't quote me on this, I can clear this with, I'm speaking in a public meeting, but I will clear this with Chris, that this is customs doing clearance, border clearance, for people coming off of cruise ships, and that their technology does involve some form of facial recognition. The last time I came through Logan, I stood there and it took my picture and it compared it to my passport. Yeah. I believe that's what we're talking about. There is nothing else the city is doing or the port is doing that I'm aware of that involves facial recognition.
They said the port was being asked to supply the equipment or the software.
I don't know where we are with that right now. I don't think so, but I think that's not happening anymore.
That's customs. That's not us.
So Eastport Port and Eastport City are not contributing anything to that?
No, I don't believe so.
Double check with the port, but definitely not the city.
Thank you. Oops. Wow. We can close public forum? We lost the entire audience.
Close to it. I knew it was going to be a wild one.
Okay, we're on to item 13, executive session. I'll need a motion to enter into it.
Thank you. I make the motion that we go into executive session at 7:59 for personal matters, Title 1, MRSA 4056A, for real estate, property, and economic development, Title 1, MRSA 4056C, and for consultation with legal counsel, Title 1, MRSA 4056E.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilor Dana Cummings.
Yes.
Councilor Meringue.
Yes.
Councilor Stevens.
Yes.
Councilor Seeley.
Yes.
Councilor Boone.
Yes. I'll entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
I'll make that motion.
8:38, I second.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Counselor Moran?
Yes.
Counselor Stevens?
Yes.
Counselor Seeley?
Yes.
Counselor Boone?
Yes. Item 14, the action from executive session, if there is any.
I make a motion to accept the renegotiation of the city manager's contract retroactive to July 1st, 2025.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Counselor Moran?
Yes.
Counselor Stevens?
Yes.
Counselor Seeley?
Yes.
Counselor Boone?
Yes. Any further action of executive session? Hearing none, I'm on item 15.
8:39, I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Counselor Moran?
Yes.
Counselor Stevens?
Yes.
Counselor Seeley?
Yes.
Counselor Boone?
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you and good night.